Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me now. Sit up, lean in, because this is not just another message you're going to scroll past. This is a wake-up call, a declaration, a reminder that your worth does not depend on the noise around you, the names they call you, or the way they look at you when they think you're not enough. You determine your value. You define your peace. When you're out there, in the world, pursuing your goals, walking in your purpose, you're going to meet people who try to downplay your light. Some do it out of fear, some out of ignorance, and some out of nothing more than spite. But hear me when I say this. Your worth is non-negotiable. See, the first smart way to handle disrespect isn't flashy. It's not loud. It doesn't post a clap back or shout in someone's face. It stands up straight. It looks in the mirror and says, I know who I am. That's enough. People will test you. Trust me, they will. They'll try to paint you smaller to fill up their own insecurities. But I want you to stand firm, because when you know your worth, truly know it, disrespect rolls off you like water off a raincoat. It might hit you, it might even sting for a second, but it won't soak in. You shake it off, and you move forward, head high. Now, this ain't about arrogance, it's about conviction. There's a difference. Knowing your worth means you don't have to show off, scream, or plead for validation. You don't chase peace, you protect it. That means you walk away when it costs you too much. That means you stay calm when they try to rile you up. That means you don't let anyone live rent-free in your head. Sometimes silence is louder than rage. Sometimes walking away is the real mic drop. You hear me? You were not built to be everybody's doormat. You were built to rise, to overcome, to show others what self-control, grace, and focus look like when it meets adversity. Handling disrespect starts at the root, knowing that every word they throw at you is powerless unless you pick it up and wear it. But you don't need to wear their words. You already wear purpose, destiny, legacy. Martin Luther King once said, "Nobody can ride your back if your back ain't bent." Straighten your spine, brothers and sisters. Lift your head. You are enough without their approval. Sometimes we internalize the disrespect. We start to believe it must be true. But no, they don't define you. So don't you dare give your power away to someone who didn't help you earn it. Don't pass them the pen to write your story. You write it, you direct it, you produce it, you star in it. Because your story isn't over, and disrespect is just a plot twist, not the end. I want you to promise yourself right now that from this moment forward, no act of disrespect will steal 1 hour of your joy. It's not worth it. Your mission is bigger. Your time is too valuable. And every second you spend defending your worth is a second you're not living in it. Wake up tomorrow with one goal. Protect your peace, handle your purpose, and never, ever forget your worth. Because at the end of the day, respect yourself enough not to react. Let them see you winning in silence. Let me tell you something right now. Your energy is sacred. Your time, your focus, your attention, all of it, gold, priceless. But in this world we're living in, full of distractions, full of criticism, full of people ready to throw shade, some of us are burning out trying to prove our worth to people who ain't even listening, people who never saw you, who never intended to value you in the first place. And I'm telling you tonight, don't waste your energy on anyone who doesn't value it. See, some folks only clap when you're broken. They're quiet when you're leveling up. They disappear when you need support. And yet you keep giving them access, giving them the front row to your show, your purpose, your passion, your growth, when all they're doing is sitting there, arms crossed, unimpressed. Let me ask you something. Why? Why are you feeding those who would rather drain you than pour into you? Why are you explaining yourself to people who never try to understand? Every minute you spend trying to convince a heart that's closed, you lose a piece of your power. You rob yourself of the very energy you need to elevate to the next level. Don't give diamonds to people who can't see past dirt. I know. You want to be liked. You want peace. You want unity. But sometimes peace looks like distance. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for your soul is walk away. Walk away from people who minimize you, who disrespect you behind smiles, who nod in agreement, but secretly hope you fail. You don't owe anyone your exhaustion. Let that sink in. You don't owe anyone the version of yourself that's burnt out, used up, broken down, just so they can feel comfortable. That's not humility. That's self-abandonment. And here's the truth. No matter how good your heart is, no matter how hard you try, some people ain't gonna see your worth. Some people will never say thank you. And some people will always twist your light into something they can throw shade at. But listen closely now. That's not a reflection of you. That's a reflection of them. Their blindness doesn't change your brilliance. So what do? You pivot. You protect. You refocus. Instead of running after folks who won't match your energy, pour that energy into your purpose, into your calling, into the people who light you up, not those who dim your power. Be enthusiastic about your goals, not their approval. Some of y'all are planting in the wrong soil. You're trying to grow in places where you were never meant to thrive. Reclaim your energy and reinvest it into yourself, into your growth, your healing, your peace of mind. Because wasting time on those who don't value you is like trying to fill a cup with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much you pour in, it's leaking out. You are not meant to beg for acknowledgement. You are not built to convince or explain. You are meant to build, to rise, to walk so boldly in your light that those who don't respect it are blinded by it anyway. And when you truly understand that not everyone deserves a seat at your table, that's when you'll finally eat in peace. Never forget, your energy is your currency. Start spending it where you're truly valued. Let me tell you something powerful. Something that will change your life once you grab hold of it. A person without boundaries is a person without protection. If you don't set the standard for how people should treat you, how can you expect them to respect it? You've got to look at your life like a house. You don't leave the doors open all night long, do you? You don't leave your windows unlocked and your lights off, letting just anybody walk in. So why would you let people step all over your spirit, cross lines, speak down to you, and invade your peace? You've got to set boundaries. And more importantly, you've got to enforce them. See, people will treat you according to what you allow. You keep being polite while they disrespect you, and guess what? They'll keep doing it. You keep laughing off the shade, keep swallowing the insult, keep brushing it off because you don't want to start anything, and suddenly you are living in a mess you didn't create, but one you allowed. Listen, boundaries are not walls. They're not about shutting people out or being cold. Boundaries are bridges. They show others how to cross into your life respectfully or not at all. They're the rules to your game. And if folks can't play by them, then they don't get to play at all. If someone keeps interrupting your peace, invading your space, ignoring your voice, dismissing your feelings, and you keep letting it slide, then you're teaching them that you'll tolerate disrespect. And let's be real, if you don't respect your own boundaries, why should anybody else? You've got to speak with your actions. It's one thing to say, don't talk to me like that. It's another to walk away when they do, to pull back access, to say, I choose myself today. Because the moment you start respecting your own boundaries, the world around you starts to adjust. But don't expect everyone to respond well. When you start protecting your space, the people who benefited from your lack of boundaries will call you difficult, will say you've changed, will act like you're the problem. That's all right. That's part of the process. That's the cost of peace. Growth is uncomfortable. But guess what? Disrespect is even more uncomfortable when you stay quiet about it too long. So start saying no. Start demanding time for yourself. Start telling the truth, not to offend, but to honor your own value. Because if you keep bending over to keep the peace, eventually your back's going to break. Don't let guilt keep you tied to toxic cycles. Your soul deserves more than that. And listen, people might not like you once you set boundaries, but that's not your responsibility. Your peace is. You are not a doormat. You are not a dumping ground for other people's chaos. You are not here to carry more than your share just to make everybody else feel lighter. You matter too. Your space matters. Your energy matters. And setting boundaries doesn't make you selfish. It makes you wise. See, maturity is knowing when to be available and when to retreat, when to speak up and when to leave. And oh, let me tell you, there is power in the boundary that says, you can go no further than this. That's the line. That's the door. And if you can't handle it with respect, you don't get the key. Because when you honor your boundaries, You teach the world how to honor you. Now listen to me carefully, because this right here could save you from 1,000 wasted arguments, 1,000,000 moments of frustration, and years of energy spent on things that just don't matter in the grand scheme of your life. You've got to realize something powerful. Every action doesn't need a reaction. Every insult doesn't require a rebuttal. Every ounce of disrespect doesn't deserve your time. Because if somebody disrespects you, the greatest clapback isn't louder words. It's a louder life. You want to know what shuts people up real quick? It's not the argument. It's not the comeback. It's when you succeed beyond their expectations. When they see you, months later, thriving, elevating, glowing, and you never stoop to their level. You never let them disturb your peace. You just kept moving, kept building, kept doing the very thing they said you couldn't do. That is power. That is class. That is discipline. See, ego wants to respond. Ego wants to win the argument. Ego wants to say, let me remind you who you're dealing with. But your purpose says, I'm too busy focusing on my destiny to explain myself to small minds. Your calling says, I don't have time to entertain disrespect when I'm trying to build legacy. Don't you ever let someone else's weakness drag you down to their level. They want to see you lose your cool. They want to distract you from your mission. They may talk about you, challenge your character, twist your words, and the moment you explode, they win. Not because they were right, but because now you're off balance, and you've stepped into their battlefield. But let me tell you something, and I speak from experience. There's nothing more frustrating to a person trying to pull you down than watching you rise anyway. Watching you shrug it off, stay focused, stay gracious. Sometimes the best thing you can do is smile, nod, and go build in silence. Let your success echo louder than any ego ever could. Now don't get me wrong, silence is not weakness. It's maturity. It's mastery. It's knowing that not every fist has to be swung for justice to be served. Sometimes the greatest vengeance is peace. It's saying, you can't touch me. You don't control me. I'm not reacting because I'm too focused on growing. Let's be real. They think they need to see your anger to know you're strong. Nope. Show them your consistency, your excellence. Show them that while they were busy gossiping, you were building something. While they were laughing behind your back, you were investing in yourself. While they were playing games, you were writing chapters. Let your results break their narratives. And to those who doubted you, let them hear about your name, not through what you said about yourself, but through what the world can't stop saying about the work you did. That's how you move with power. That's how you rise with honor. You let your future make the noise. Remember, anybody can react. That's easy. But not everyone can rise. Not everyone can grow when they've been wronged. But you can. Because you're not here to prove ego. You're here to fulfill purpose. And when you finally get to the mountaintop, and you will, take a moment to look over the edge and realize you never had to shout back. You just had to keep climbing. Because in the end, silence backed by success makes more noise than any argument ever could. There's a kind of strength most people overlook. A power that doesn't shout, doesn't slam the table, doesn't storm out of a room. It doesn't come with fists clenched or voices raised. No, the strongest person in the room is often the quietest, the calmest, the one who doesn't need to prove anything, because they already know who they are. That is the art of silence. And let me tell you, it's not weakness. It's control. It's wisdom. It's power in its purest form. See, we live in a loud world. Everybody's talking. Opinions nonstop. People clapping back, arguing, constantly trying to get the last word. But silence, real, intentional silence, that takes discipline. That takes identity. That takes trust in yourself enough to say, I don't need to respond to everything. I'm not here for every fight. And the truth is, when you master the art of silence, you stop acting out of emotion and start leading with intention. When someone disrespects you, silence is not saying, I accept it. It's saying, you're not even worth the noise. When people push your buttons trying to get a reaction, hoping to see you crack, silence becomes your armor. Because now, you're not on their time, you're not playing their game, you're moving with dignity, too grounded to be shaken. Let me break something else down for you. Silence does not mean suppression. It doesn't mean bottling up your pain or swallowing your truth. It means choosing when and how you speak. Because not every situation deserves immediate access to your thoughts. Not every disrespectful moment deserves your energy. Sometimes silence is how you claim your inner peace, how you pause, how you observe, and how you rise above. And that's what real maturity looks like. Not reacting just because you can, but sitting in your power and saying, I'll respond when it serves me, not when it distracts me. Think about it. Has anyone ever regretted being calm? No. But how many of us regret the things we said in anger? The moments we gave away our power because we let someone pull us out of character? When you stay silent, you're listening, you're learning, and you're allowing the truth to reveal itself, all without losing your grip on who you are. See, silence lets fools expose themselves. You don't have to call out everybody. Sometimes, if you just be still, they'll do it all on their own. But beyond conflict, silence is power because it keeps your moves private. Everybody doesn't need to know what you're doing, what you're thinking, what your next step is. Let them speculate. Let them wonder. That's how legacies are built. In silence, away from the noise. In the early mornings, in the late nights. Not posted online, not shouted in anger, but reflected in results. So when the world gets loud, when you're disrespected, doubted, overlooked, don't always raise your voice. Raise your focus. Some storms are built to knock you off track. Don't feed them. Don't fight fire with fire. Master the fire within. That internal flame that says, I know who I am, and I don't have to lower myself just to be seen. You don't lose your power when you're silent. You recharge it. You realign it. And when the time is right, your silence will echo louder than any noise ever could. Because true power doesn't need to prove itself. It just is. And silence, well used, speaks louder than words ever will. Let me break something down for you, something a lot of people don't realize until it's too late. Who you surround yourself with makes or breaks your peace. The people closest to you influence your mindset, your energy, your confidence, even your future. Everybody's talking about energy and vibes these days, but too few are talking about the real root of most disrespect, keeping the wrong people too close for too long. You want respect? Start by looking around. Who's at your table? Who's in your circle? Not everybody that smiles in your face is in your corner. Not everybody that calls you friend is clapping when you win. Some folks keep you low because if you rise, they'll have to look in the mirror and realize they never grew. That's not friendship. That's bondage. And it's time to cut ties. It's better to walk alone in peace than to sit in a crowd that drains your energy, questions your worth, or criticizes your every move. We live in a world where people believe proximity equals loyalty. But just because they're close doesn't mean they care. Just because they've known you for years doesn't mean they respect you today. Length of time doesn't equal quality of character. Sometimes the most dangerous disrespect comes dressed as love. They'll joke on you, minimize your dreams, dismiss your emotions, and call it just being real. Nah, that's not real. That's toxic. That's manipulation. And if you keep allowing people like that to roam freely in your life, don't be surprised when your self-esteem starts sinking, when your vision gets cloudy, when your spirit feels heavy. Let me ask you, when's the last time you audited your circle? Not with judgment, with wisdom. Who actually pours into you? Who supports your vision without mocking it? Who challenges you to grow without making you feel small? That's the kind of respect you need. Not just admiration, not people who hype you when it's trendy, but folks who respect your journey even when they don't understand it. And don't get it twisted. This isn't about cutting people off in anger. This is about choosing your peace. It's about recognizing that access to your life is a privilege, not a right. And when someone abuses that access with repeated disrespect, disloyalty, or dishonesty, you take it back. You don't have to curse them, confront them, or create drama. Just give them distance. They'll notice. See, when your circle is full of peace, love, respect, and purpose, you don't have to constantly defend your boundaries. They're instinctively honored. You don't have to keep proving your worth. It's understood. That's the kind of circle that elevates you. That's the kind of atmosphere where growth happens. And that's the power of being intentional about who you let in your space. You are the average of the 5 voices you hear most. Are those voices building you or breaking you? Feeding your purpose or feeding your doubt? You can't afford to let anyone, keep sowing seeds of disrespect into your life and expect to bloom. So keep your circle tight. Not small out of fear, tight out of focus, tight out of intention. You don't need an audience, you need allies. Folks who respect your silence, value your voice, and walk beside you with honor. Because who you surround yourself with doesn't just influence how you live, it defines how much of your life is lived in peace, power, and purpose.